Thank you for giving me opportunities. I and my colleagues, Dr. Jeffrey Krister, he from USA, he will be a co-author in this time. So my topic is executive functions learning management model to enhance school readiness in early childhood with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. First of all, I would like to list about introductions, review literatures, methods, design, result, conclusions, and reference. Okay, first of all, we have to talk about the context for this research. We know that ADHD is defect in the brain functionings, and the main problems of abnormal behavior have three aspects: inattentions, hyperactivities, and impulsivities. That is more than they have the problem more than normal behavior of children. So this level will disturb develop and social impacts on daily life. And for the general research problems, because of lack of effective teaching models and lack of special education teachers, so general teachers have to enrolling as a special education teacher, and lack of integrations about teaching method, teaching techniques. So for the research proposed, I have three points. That first, to identify ADHD symptom in early childhood. The second, to develop the model of executive functions learning management to promote learning readiness of children with ADHD. And the last one is to study the effectiveness of using the model. And for the keyword, it's related to executive functions, ADHD, school readiness, and learning management model. Okay, for executive function is the set of mental process to help us connect experience with present actions. And it's referred as brain boss that guides our behavior, and is associated the frontal lobe as the primary source of these functions. So when you see the brain functions, you can see in the frontal lobe is related directly to executive functions: thinking, planning, organizing, and problem-solving, emotion, and behavioral control, personalities. And the midbrain is related to motor context and sensory context, so you can feelings. And in temporal lobe, it's memory and understanding language. So most of executive function is the forebrain. So just be careful your forebrain. I try to move my computer. Hold on. Okay. For executive function, there are three main, very important. It's related to working memory, inhibitory control, and cognitive flexible. We can use executive function in the whole of our daily, the whole life, since early childhood and elderly. But for early childhood, it's very critical periods that we have to work on. For working memories, it's about ability to hold information in mind and use it. Inhibitory control, that is ability to master impulse, resist temptations, distractions, to pause and think about actions or think before actions. For cognitive flexibilities, that it's about switch gear and adjust to changing demand priorities or perspective, that you can change the way to think and creativities. That is the main working memory, inhibit control. They have a research about inhibit control that we call marshmallow test. Marshmallow test is that the children can bar themselves in around 1 or 2 minutes, or even in 30 minutes, and then they will get more marshmallow. And for cognitive flexible, yeah, you will have to think in different way to solve the problems. That it's related as well in working memory, that you can remain all the information in your brain. And for the children, so they have to have a self-regulatory skill, so they can represent, they can plan, they can evaluate what they have to do, demanded level. And in this model, that it will scaffolding the student to know step by step until they can do by themselves. So that I talk about ADHD is 3 aspects that we have to solve the problem in attentions, hyper activity, impulsively. And it's related to their academic as well. So in this, if the school readiness, we have to preparing students for the futures. What is school readiness? It's students have to start in the kindergarten. This one, yeah. Children who start kindergarten with strong literacy and numeracy, its advantage, the term it of initial school adjustment and learn to read. In particular, a growing body research evidence highlight that is it important the skill acquired during the preschool years. The students have to develop and they have readings and writings. So in phonological sensitivities, alphabet. So this skill can predict association with letter reading, decoding, and comprehension skill. And more than that, for all our language skill, include vocabulary and syntax, also support reading comprehensions, and the student abilities to understand and comply with behavioral demand of school as well. That is very important for school readiness. So more than that, it's related to social emotional competency that support adaptive behavior adjustment to school and in learning. And more than that, it's related to emotional regulation skill and social competence for preschool or kindergarten students. It's related to pro-social behavior such as helping, sharing, and taking turn. So we will have activities that to enhance the student, to increase student begin to understand in the golden rule of the social exchange and repositives. Rate of aggressions show correspondingly decline as students gain the self-regulatory skill that all them inhibit reaction aggressive in favor that is of socially appropriate alternative. And the acquisitions of these social competencies, such as emotional regulations, social skills, and aggressive control, is represented by the impacts predicting kindergarten and elementary school engagement and academic success, as well as positive peer relations. For the research method, this research is designed as research and development and consists of 3 phases. Phase 1 is gathering basic information for the student. Kindergarten is 294 children during age 5 to 6 year old. So it's from 7 schools in Mahasarkham municipalities. And I will screen by Snap for a screening test. And phase 2 is related to develop executive functions learning management model. The third one is analyze two effects of using the models that we use MUEF 101 assessment in to assess about executive functions. And the findings, so from the screenings, more than 200 students, we found that we have 87 students who have a criteria of ADHD is quite high. But we just in case to keep continuing, we not diagnosis, just screening and keep in mind how to help them. So I use the base model executive functions management learning to promote or help them for learning readiness step by step. So I have 4 steps. First, brain gym. Second, activities of executive function tasks and summaries, reflections. The last one is evaluation and wrap up, like the photos we have. And for the test that effective of the model is benefits for the student. So I compare about the executive function behavior ratings that before and after that. I found that after we use the model is higher than before. Significance is level 0.05, and each item about executive function, such as inhibitory control, chief or cognitive flexibilities, emotional control, working memories, plan and organizing, is quite high correlation to improve. Especially inhibit control with planning and organizing had positive relationships at quite high in a level 0.50 significant relate 0.919, and most of others cognitive flexible and inhibitory is related quite it is okay 0.67. It's like middle. And the good one is emotional control and inhibitory control. They have a positive relationship. It's 0.9. It's quite high. And for the working memories, plannings, and organizing, it's high as well, 0.9, 25. This is the conclusion that I can say that the base model is very effective, and I can use this for the general student as well. Thank you for your attention.